What's up, everybody? Welcome into a Denver Sports Monday. My name is Rob Trujillo, and like I said, we will be doing different streams, different days of the week, but always excited for a Denver Sports Monday because we bring in a lot of old friends and get to talk with you guys about things happening around the world of Denver sports, and it's certainly not nothing right now. I mean, there is... For no games being played, there is a glut of news around the Denver sports scene right now, and I'm excited to talk about it with you guys. Okay. So this is the top story at ESPN.com right now. How serious do I think it is? Not at all. And they even say that in the article, but it's at least interesting. And it sounds like it's not going to die for a couple years here. And they cite the reason that it's not going to die for a couple years right in the article. So this is from Anthony Slater, ESPN. And a Greek businessman who owns, and we had to figure out how to say this last year because they went after Valanciunas, and I don't remember how to pronounce it properly, but I think it's Panathinaikos. But I could be absolutely butchering that. Apparently has not only called the Denver Nuggets, but also called Nikola Jokic to make an offer to buy out the last year of his contract and have him sign in Greece to play basketball, which is absolutely crazy. So Jokic has 2 years left on his deal. He's eligible this summer to sign an extension. He has not. We'll get to that in 1 second. The next year of his deal is locked in. The last year of his deal is a player option. So he can choose to go to free agency after the last year of his deal, or after this next year of his deal. He can forego the last year of his deal. And so the conversation between the owner of Panathinaikos and the Nuggets, and apparently he had a separate conversation just with Jokic, was let me buy him out of the last year of his contract to come play in Greece. And it's a little crazy. I've never heard in basketball anyway of, like, this is a very soccer thing, it feels like. Buying out a last year of a contract with a team to let a player just sign with you. No compensation. But across leagues, there's not really much else you can do other than money. Of course, so he said that he knew people would think he was joking, but he made a, quote, I did make a very serious proposal this year to both his team and to him. I got a rejection. I know that he has more than 1 year on his contract. So he's got 2 seasons at $121 million. By the way, this is Anthony Slater of ESPN.com. But the second season is a player option. So now let's get into why he hasn't signed the extension that he's eligible for yet. And it's purely financial. Jokic became eligible to sign a 4-year, $278 million max extension on June 14th. But has declined to comment, stating that his idea and desire is to stay in Denver for the rest of his career, but plans to wait to sign the extension for financial reasons, which we all knew ahead of time. This wasn't news. He had said this going back to last year. He had laid the groundwork for, I'm not going to sign the extension the first second I'm eligible. It doesn't mean I want out of Denver. The reason he doesn't want to sign it is because if he waits, he can sign a $359 million contract that's 5 years long next offseason. So essentially $75 million higher he can sign next offseason if he just plays on his 2-year, paltry $121 million deal. He can sign a bigger deal next offseason. So him and his agent have said, listen, it's nothing about the Nuggets. We have no desire to leave or play for anybody else. We are just going to wait to sign the extension because we want to sign the bigger extension, which makes you're talking about $75 million. Like, of course, that's fine if he waits. Mental health guy says more money for horse racing. Yes. I mean, that's where a large chunk of these contracts are going. No doubt about it. David says, win a championship, multi-MVP, chase super generational wealth, be closer to his home in terms of moving to Greece. Yeah. So those are all the reasons why this is something that's at the top of ESPN, their little ticker thing, because it makes sense. It makes sense. And that sucks. So he says he likes it here in Denver. He has said he wants to play the rest of his career in Denver. He has said he plans on signing another extension, and that if he does, he will play out that contract at the least. So if he waits till next year to sign a 5-year deal, you've got 6 years, theoretically, of Jokic. He's the kind of guy, I believe him when he says, if I sign a contract, I'm going to honor it. And I understand why he has not signed the contract yet, but would wait for an extra $75 million to sign next year. That being said, like you're saying, David, he's already won a championship. He's got a bunch of MVPs. It's not just generational wealth he can probably get by going over and playing in Europe, which is closer to his home. It's also like probably long-term wealth in the sense of like he probably gets an ownership stake, right? In the team, maybe in the league. Like that's what Messi did when he came over here. He's a part owner. And he made a deal with I think it was Apple TV and MLS where he gets a cut of any new subscriptions after he signed, something like that. Don't quote me on it, but it was something ridiculous where he had this deal where it's not just they're paying him. Like he gets money in perpetuity, and much like the Jordan brand and Nike, athletes are looking for that nowadays to kind of just not only set themselves up, but like you said, for generations, he's already got 2 kids, like forget it. Their grandkids are set. You know what I mean? So it does make sense with how much he likes being over there, how far away it is from here. It's really interesting. If he had been drafted by the Celtics and they gave him a chance and he was dominating for them, a flight from Boston to Serbia is much shorter, so the fact that we're, I hate to say all the way on the other side of the world because the other side of the world would be the Pacific Ocean, but an extra 3 to 5 hours away by plane, depending on, where you're flying and how you fly it. The fact that we're so much further away from Serbia where he can only go there during the off season. I mean, he can't take a weekend. He can't, not that he could leave for the All-Star game, but it's not like he can go back to Serbia for All-Star weekend or something like that. So, like you're saying, David, I think that's why every Nuggets fan and NBA fans, who want to see one of the greatest players alive, I think that's why it's in the back of their head. All that said, there's no more legacy building over there, and I get the feeling from him that one championship isn't enough. At least that's, I think, how he feels. And I think that's a fair way to feel for a guy of his level. But it'll be interesting. I don't think he's chasing any more MVPs, but I do think he wants another title. And so, yeah, I think the reasons that you stated are why it rings in Nuggets fans' heads, but I don't think it's particularly likely. As we continue on this article here, it says that he did call the Nuggets, and the Nuggets did decline him rather ferociously and expediently. He said it took a few seconds for the Nuggets to say who, Greece, where, what, bye. But this is a storyline that is not going to go away until he signs his contract. The owner of the Greek team knows that, and he knows it's good for him that they're going to spend a whole calendar year talking about this until he's eligible to sign that next extension. And so, he says it right here, but let's wait till next year. And that's, I think, going to occupy some mental space for Nuggets fans, at least for this next season. They go on to say that, he is the guy that tried to get Valanciunas over there last season. It's interesting because Valanciunas is going to Europe this year, but not to play in Greece. He's going to play in Lithuania, which is where he's from. But interesting that he didn't go back after Valanciunas. Right? Like, it makes it feel like, and maybe he did. I shouldn't say he didn't make him an offer. That's not my intent. But it makes it feel like he's doing it for the PR. Like he's doing these moves just to get people talking about his team, knowing that they won't be successful, knowing that, like, there is no offer he can make to, even if it's a serious offer, serious offer. He knows that it's not going to get accepted, so like he doesn't have to follow through on any of these things. Because if he was serious about wanting Valanciunas last year, why is he playing in Lithuania this year? Nuggets let him go. His contract was up, free to sign anywhere, and he ends up in Lithuania, not in Greece. Interesting. Mental health guy, looking at the landscape, do you think this team is still in a championship window? You have Jokic, and he moves the needle more than others, but is there enough surrounding him? Yeah, I mean, that is the eternal question. We've talked about that here in Denver for the past couple of years. You've got an Aaron Gordon who is terrific but can't stay on the floor. Tons of soft tissue issues. You wonder if his days are getting maybe too old and injury plagued. You had a very uninspired Jamal Murray 2 years ago. You had a very inspired Jamal Murray last year. And you were knocked out in the first round. So you aren't getting enough from Christian Brown. You have paid some Peyton Watson, who we're going to talk about next, who's an RFA, and you don't know if you're bringing him back. I think it's fair to ask if this team is still in the championship window. And when we discussed it last week, my cry was either tell me that you're going for a championship this year, in which case they have moves to make, no doubt about it. And to that end, there's free agents that I want to talk about who they might bring in. Or you're looking at this with Jokic saying, I've got, 6 years left? I mean, if he does everything he says he does or will do in this contract negotiation, meaning he'll sign next year and play for 5 more years, you've got 6 years left of Jokic. So if you're not telling me you're a championship contender this year, you better have like a 2 to 3 year plan where you're getting my guy one more, right? And so if that means trading some people away and tearing it down a little bit here to reload and come back in 2 years, I'm okay with that, but I better see a plan. And I just don't think there's been a very good one from the Nuggets in terms of, being a championship contender legitimately. Now, the flip side of that is 2 years ago, they took Oklahoma City to 7 and nobody else was close to beating them. And if they beat Oklahoma City, they probably win that title 2 years ago because everything else there was Oklahoma City walked through. I feel like. So, I mean, I guess the Pacers took them to 7, but I feel like they win the title if they win that game 7 versus Oklahoma City 2 years ago. And then they follow it up this year by a first round exit. I mean, that's so tough. You really got to do better than that. So, which team are they? Are they the team that's this close to a championship, or have the San Antonios and Oklahoma Cities and Minnesotas of the world just made you the 4th best team in the West? And that doesn't even count Luka Doncic and Houston and whoever else, right? So last year was disappointing, man, the way they went out of the playoffs. And they have to find a better answer than that.